Hello, everyone. It is Monday, the 11th of December, 2023, and I have not been on YouTube for a while because I had another strike, and my strikes last like months, and I don't know why. I can post now, but my strikes are still several months away, and so if I get another strike, I lose my account, which is lame. And so please head on over to Dawn189, DAWN 189 on Rumble. I have over 1,000 videos for sure. And I have been calling out the reality of the world, especially what's been going on in Israel and Gaza and things like that now, and so many other things. And I've also been sharing information that, again, I've got my YouTube deleted, but more issues. Anyways, I will leave it and just get on with Bill Blair. He's the Minister of National Defense within Canada, and he's held many different positions throughout the years. He's a Liberal member, and he has very much connections to even writing policy and being on committees regarding China and various other countries where there seems to be very much conflicts of interest. And myself and other people like me have been emailing him personally, and he has not got back to us yet. And so this guy is the Minister of National Defense. I am someone that I will reiterate. I was 15 years as a PPCLI infantry officer. I was in the Special Forces. I'm currently incorporated and have been for 5 years, working with all levels of government. I have top secret government clearance, international security expert, all of these things. And so it would behoove him to talk to and listen to someone like me. And but it doesn't surprise me that he has not got back to people like me, because he has been corrupt, and people have been asking for him to step down, even in his old jobs now for decades. And not someone that was respected in law enforcement, not someone that's respected in cabinet, and certainly not someone that's respected in Canada at all by its citizens. And there's even a petition that was signed for Justin Trudeau to step down, and the Liberal government, and people within the cabinet within the Liberal Party. And 250,000 votes. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but Canada, we only have about 38 million people. And a lot of people don't even look at the petitions. They're not on X. They're not into politics. So that's an alarming number, and I'm hoping that it's something that sticks and that he finally gets the message. Eggnog. Anyway, so even today, I tried to call Bill Blair's office, the Minister of National Defense, who we are funding. So he's a public servant, and he's supposed to be serving us and answering our phone calls and answering our emails. And the office hours are 10 to 4 from Monday to Thursday. So 10 to 4, so 6 hours a day. And in that, there's an hour break. So they work 5 hours a day for 4 days a week. And then it's 10 to 1 on Fridays. So 10 to 12, essentially, and then lunch break, and then not come back. So he works 23 hours, between 23 and 27 hours a week. And so do cabinet members. And even as of 2017, he was making over $350,000. And so that's clearly something that would have gone up by now. And someone that is not good at his job. So even with the SNC Lavalin affair, he had his nose in that and was trying to cover it up. Then even with this was from 2010. So it says G20 police accountability must start at the top. So that's when he was chief of police, must step down or be fired. OFL president and many others had said. Ontario Federation of Labor President Sid Ryan today responded to a damning report on the police use of excessive force during the 2010 G20 summit in Toronto by calling for the resignation of Toronto Police Chief Police Bill Blair. Then it goes so many more. So over 1,100 people were arrested and detained, nearly all of them on charges with absolutely no merit. Random citizens were arrested in unlawful outdoor prisons, and many were brutalized in the process. To date, only 2 officers have faced criminal charges for these assaults, and the 100 officers who removed their name tags to disguise their identities have only received minor sanctions, said Ryan. It goes on. Okay. 2010. We're 2023 now, and Bill Blair lied during the Emergency Act hearings, even last year, about so many different things, but also because he's trying to claim that he didn't know who Brian Fox is, the head of Enterprise, also a Liberal campaign donator too, right? He donates to Liberal cabinet members. And during that first weekend, during the Freedom Convoy, which I was telling people was staged and planned, and organized and exploited by government, just like January 6th. And I've shared irrefutable proof on that as well. So take a look at my footage on January 6th. I have multiple videos on it, and it's not like you get literally anywhere else. And I'm not just saying that. So please take a look at that as well. And so Brian Fox, like wearing the balaclava, like holding up the flags and stuff like that. So just like, again, trying to be a plant. Okay, not and I was telling people before he did it that there was going to be crisis actors, there was going to be plants, there was going to be people trying to elicit emotional responses in people, and don't fall for it. Call it out peacefully, record it, and that's what people did. And so like we even have him going up the stairs, like at the Parliament building, and even like a few like corrupted, as well as Justin's photographer, were even caught like walking with this guy like up the stairs in the parliamentary building, and it was and part of photo ops, and so even with that, you know, like there's people that are still in jail over that, and Bill Blair, okay, who's lied about it, tried to incite further escalations of force and stuff like that, even during this period of time. He's still for some reason not fired for this, and it just blows my mind still. Ukraine, he's still pushing bullshit about Ukraine and lies about that, even though I said Ghost of Kiev's not real. He said it was Snake Island. He's bullshitting about that, said from day one that was a lie, and about the allegations against Russian soldiers committing crimes against humanity against like women, proved that was a lie. And in fact, it was actually the opposite. And the spokesperson from Ukraine, she got fired because of lying about it. But it was Azov battalion Ukrainian men that actually committed the acts that people were saying Russians did to get us into a war. So also with the Polish farmers dying, I was number one saying, no, that was Ukrainian air defense and stuff like that. And trying to blame it on Russia. And I was even arguing with people on LinkedIn, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Blair included, and Wayne Eyre, our chief of defense staff, and saying like, you're lying. That was not Russia. They were trying to call for Article 5. And I was even saying Ukrainian air defense, all of this stuff. And Nord Stream 2, NATO involvement in that as well. And again, Blair has no idea about any of this stuff. So he's woefully underqualified for his job, woefully inexperienced for his job, and clearly someone that is not competent enough to be at his job. And I'll even further to that, because like that's not even the touch of anything, sadly. And this is why like I try to respond, like I try to call him even today, and there's no answer and no ability for me to even leave a message. And this guy doesn't even respond to emails. And so it's not like I just wish he would call or contact people and actually do his job, right? Because again, like he's probably getting like over $400,000 right now. He works 23 to 27 hours a week. And again, like he's never there and doesn't respond to emails. And all he does is lie to us and misinform us about literally everything. And so I will take that job, please. And I will gladly take that job for $250,000 a year. I'm way better than anyone they have there. And that is literally like half to like a quarter of what most people make that are lying to us, including again a whole bunch of other people within government. And Brenda Lucky, by the way, the head of the RCMP, he also got her to lie about Nova Scotia and make that a political thing as well for firearms, to like further remove and cause restrictions and measures for firearms. And that is also something where there's more to that story as well. So I shared that one. So like even conservatives call on Bill Blair to resign after Nova Scotia inquiry audio release revives allegations of political meddling. And so this fucking guy, man, it's like, I don't know you personally, but like I feel like you're very close-minded and inside the box thinker, and you don't like, he's like, there's people like this that are egomaniacs and they just think that they're better than everyone. And there's like this elitist mentality, and it's just like, it's so dangerous. And the fact that he's the Minister of National Defense and he's literally lying about everything, like even still pushing what's going on in Russia, sorry, in Ukraine, like, and it's money laundering as well. This money is not going to Ukraine. It's not going to the people. It's not going to the military. It's not going to our military. It's going to other people whose pockets that are lining, that are part of the military pharmaceutical industrial complex, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why, like, give us our money back, Bill. Resign in disgrace. Okay, you are an embarrassment to Canada and the world. And you've had so many chances. Like how many years have even I personally emailed your government issued email account, right? and nothing back. and I'm a veteran. I buried people overseas in war. You fuck off veterans. And so I just think you're a disgusting human being because of that. And you're just very typical of what people have to deal with, unfortunately. Dinosaurs like you. And people have to call it out. And it's been more women, unfortunately, than men. And so Tory MP Kemi Badenoch as Equality Minister. This is redacted. I highly recommend you follow them.
The UK this week. And
I'm not on Rumble right now because Rumble's down. At least in Canada it is, so I can't post or share anything from Rumble. But so this is redacted. And this is what someone from UK's Parliament said out loud.
I am shocked and amazed and also very encouraged.
Common sense. Wow.
Yeah, this is where a leading member of parliament admits that the trans lobby is coming after gay kids and the government should not be run by lobbyist groups. And further, they should rely on scientific research. What? What is this crazy talk? This is parliamentary.
And even before I get to that, we're sending billions of dollars to the Philippines too for climate change and things like that. And that it's also bullshit. Okay, that's going to people that they know there or have friends and family there or stocks there or like something there, assets, maybe houses, whatever. And it's not going for any of that stuff because that is, yet again, I'll reiterate, there's a lot of misinformation about climate change as well. And please look at Don 189 on Rumble for that. Like Bill Blair, even with that, needs to step down. He's stealing our money. And even though he makes over $400,000 a year now, doing nothing, he also gets a lot of tax credits, and he's also traveling at our expense, and he writes a lot of things off. He's like meals and stuff like that, lunches, dinners, travel, all of his vacations. He's not worth the cost. Bill Blair should be arrested. He should be in jail. But at the very least, get the fuck away from making any decisions for Canadians, especially our fucking children.
Member Kemi Badenoch, she says that the UK government is taking an evidence-based and principled approach on the trans issue. Now, this article on your screen right now is us being warned by trans lobbyists that she is a transphobic woman. This was from last year. They said that she was transphobic because she refused to pass legislation that would ban conversion therapy, which we're going to talk about in a second. And she also met with detransitioner Kira Bell in order to understand how children take hormones really young and can be harmed. We've talked about Kira Bell before. Kira Bell was put on cross-sex hormones, puberty blockers, and had breast removal very young. It was incredibly painful because that hurts and a lot. And then she said, I just was a masculine girl. I just was what we would call a tomboy back in the day. Now, this member of parliament, Kemi Badenoch, she has been bullied over this issue quite a bit by the trans lobby. She DGAF, if you know what I mean, doesn't give a flying fart. She just keeps coming at it from an evidence-based approach. And watch how she was received. Here she is addressing that meeting with Kira Bell.
In May 2021, against official advice, I will stress that officials said you should not have this meeting. I met a young lady called Kira Bell. She's a lesbian who told me the horrific experience that she had in the Tavistock clinic. It was an eye-opening experience. I know that the member for Kirkcaldy and Cowdenbeath talked about transing away the gay in his speech in Westminster Hall debate. We are seeing, I would say, almost an epidemic of young gay children being told that they are trans and being put on a medical pathway for irreversible decisions, and they are regretting it. That is what I'm doing for young LGBT children. I am making sure that young people do not find themselves sterilized because they are being exploited by people who do not understand what these issues are. And I am saying this on the advice of clinicians. I'm saying this on the advice of academics. There are clinicians from the Tavistock who have been whistleblowing, talking about what these. These
are the unhinged people. Weak men like this create weak societies. He looks like he can't even do a push-up, and he's literally making. He's in tantrums and ranting. And she is so educated and so she's clearly articulating her points. And this guy is literally disrupting the whole thing.
About what these issues are. The honourable man tells me that he is traumatized. We are traumatized by what is happening to young children, and we are not going to run away.
Saying that he's traumatized by what she's saying right now. I wonder how many shares and stocks he has in that.
Away from this issue any longer.
So that man who was guffawing, like, no, you're traumatizing me by these words, telling me that a lesbian was hurt, was Member of Parliament Chris Bryant. And I mean, he just was so entitled to say, no, you're wrong about this. Nope, I'm not hearing it. And she's saying, yeah, you're going to.
I bet you him and Bill Blair are like best friends, and they think that they're like the best, like the elitists, like the gods of the world.
Going to keep hearing it because we can't be hurting kids. Now, about conversion therapy, she has rejected laws that would call anybody not affirming someone's gender ideology conversion therapy. So that is, we're talking in so many double negatives here that I just want to be clear.
Yep.
So if Clayton were to tell me I am a woman and I would say, no, you're not, you are a biological man, you're the father of my children, and I'm going to, let's go talk to people to prove to you that you're a man. He would say, you're trying to do conversion therapy. That's how this is used right now, is that by not accepting my ideology, you're trying to convert me to what I am not. What they're using is old therapy of trying to convert a gay person straight. Clearly, it's not the same thing, right? And so what trans activists want is to say that not affirming gender ideology is conversion. She rejects that, and she thinks that it's unsafe to actually legislate that way. And here she is addressing that.
The right honourable gentleman asked the question about conversion practices. Can I just give a little bit more clarity about what it is we are doing? This is a longer answer than normal, but I know that this is a matter of deep interest across this House, so I would like to address my thinking fully. A commitment was given to publish a draft conversion practices bill for pre-legislative scrutiny. I am determined to meet this promise, as I know is the Minister for Equalities. Attempts at so-called conversion therapy are abhorrent and are largely already illegal. So what a bill would do is identify this as a particular threat to gay people and confirm the illegality of harmful processes intended to change someone's sexuality. In that time, since this bill was first promised, this issue has developed. Now, the threat to many young gay people is not conversion relating to their sexuality, but conversion relating to gender identity. Girls like Kira Bell, who were rushed onto puberty blockers by the NHS and had a double mastectomy, now regret the irreversible damage done to them. I believe that this is a new form of conversion therapy. Respected clinicians, like those who left Tavistock, have made clear they are fearful of giving honest clinical advice to a child, because if they do not automatically affirm and medicalize a child's new gender, they will be labeled transphobic. So whatever bill we do needs to address many of those issues, and that is why we are going to publish a draft bill.
Okay, so you guys, she is reclaiming the term conversion therapy. She's saying it's not conversion therapy to not accept someone's gender ideology. It's conversion therapy to push gender ideology on somebody. So someone comes to you and they're a lesbian or an effeminate boy who will become a homosexual, and you say, you're not an effeminate boy who will become a homosexual. You are actually a woman. You're a trans woman, and we're going to convert your body into something it will never. And she's saying that's conversion therapy, and they're going to hate her for it. But I applaud it, because that is exactly what you're doing, is converting what would otherwise be a totally gay, a healthy gay person. And so this switcheroo is making people's heads spin, but she's done her homework. Further, she rejects this rhetoric saying that no child is born in, that a child is born in the wrong body. Watch.
I thank my right honourable friend for her question, and I certainly support any effort to clarify the law, and we should start from first principles. No child is born in the wrong body, and no child should be put on a pathway towards irreversible medical transition.
Yes. And further, she says she will not be bullied by Stonewall, which is a much discredited charity that is known to push kids right into medicalization of their bodies with they show any form of, like, a boy picks up a pink bat. That's it. Put him on the old penis chopper. Now, here's where she says Stonewall doesn't run this country.
And one of the issues that we have is that a lot of people do not understand the law where it comes to self-identification. We are providing clarity there. We have engaged with numerous LGBT groups, but the fact of the matter is that many of them support self-ID. That is not this government's policy. Stonewall does not decide the law in this country. Whatever it is that people want to campaign on, we will listen and we will hear. But we have been very clear about this. We've been very clear about this. And this is something that we are not budging on, and we are updating the law in accordance with government policy, and we will continue to do so.
All right. So she wants evidence-based, and she wants to decide based on democracy, not based on lobbyists. So that is shocking. And she said that. And so I want to applaud her saying that.
She deserves a round of applause from the
you heard all those
community.
You heard all those people going, here, here. I like that. Here,
Right.
here.
Now, meanwhile, in the United States, I just want to turn quickly to the Republican debates that happened last night, because that is also an issue that is up for grabs in Republican politics, at least, about parental rights and all of that. I hate to see it, like, just yelled about in a debate after we just saw, like, such a mature way to present this. But that's where we are right now.
Well,
So
Megyn Kelly,
let's-
to be fair, Megyn Kelly, she has been vehemently opposed to this. She's been speaking out about it on her show regularly about these trans surgeries
Sure.
and gender affirming care. So she tried to get a question in, I think, around that specific, question, calling up something from Chris Christie's past
Yeah.
when he was governor, basically allowing for this to happen, for parents to go around,
Right.
or schools to basically go around the parents, and these kids could go and get gender affirming surgeries.
Yes, this was not maybe the most academic or evidence-based discussion of it, but at least it's on the table. But mostly it just was a shouting match. I would like to see us move more towards something like this. But we've seen in the United States that trans activists have said that gender affirming care would never pass any kind of study or standards-based test or any kind of academic research, because there is no proof that gender affirming care resolves gender dysphoria or makes anybody better or less anxious or anybody's body more healthy. There's no research about that. It hurts a lot, and anxiety and dysphoria persists. So we don't have that discussion yet. We have had hearings about it. We showed you some in the United States yesterday, but here's how it played out, at least on a debate stage. It's a bit wilder.
Here's my follow-up question. You talk about parental rights. Let's talk about them. When you were governor in 2017, you signed a law that required new guidelines for schools dealing with transgender students. Those guidelines required schools to accept a child's preferred gender identity, even if the minor's parents objected.
Not true.
And it said that there is no duty for schools.
He's lying, and he also reminds me of a Bill Blair type.
To notify parents if their son or daughter changes their gender identity, allowing the serious issue to remain a secret.
Rich, entitled, egotistical, so far removed from reality, don't care, zero accountability, and again, think that we're going in more like lower class. Doesn't matter what our accolades are, our certifications, how many degrees we have, like what we've done, like whatever. He's just they're in their own world, and they refuse to listen to the lower class, is what they consider. We're not, by the way.
Secret between the school and a child. How is any of that pro-parental
By the way,
rights?
that's simply not true.
You're doing what you accuse me of, Chris. It's absolutely true.
That's simply not true. That's simply not true. That law was put into effect in 2018 and regulated in 2018 after I was
You
out of
mandated the
office.
guidelines.
No, we did not, Megan. We did not issue those guidelines, and you're wrong about that. Simply wrong. I have stood up each and every time.
So I think if this
My
is one
school
issue that's
choice-
disqualifying, it's this one.
I stood up every single time for parents to be able to make the decisions for their minor children.
But parents,
Every single.
And Bill Blair and that group of people as well, like even members, like even heads of political parties. That's the annoying thing. That when parents were trying to again discuss what's being taught in schools and about what kids are allowed to do and like the hormone stuff and they were going against parents. Okay, so he goes against parents.
Time, parents should make those decisions. And by the way, you know what? Every once in a while, parents are going to make decisions that we disagree with. But the minute you start to take those rights away from parents, you don't know that slippery slope, what rights are going to be taken away next, and
you
what's
do
going to be
not
focused
have,
on.
as a parent, you do not have the right to abuse your kids. This is cutting off their genitals. This is mutilating these minors. These are irreversible procedures, and this is something that other countries in Europe, like Sweden, once they started doing it, they saw it did incalculable damage. They've shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. So it's child abuse.
Like we should be doing that in Canada as well. Like that's why these people are pushing to end this stuff, right? Because we've seen in other countries and people that are trans, and they've done life-altering surgeries, irreversible damage before they were even of the age to consent, and they're saying like they wish they could take it back, right? And so so Bill Blair and these people that are pushing for like us like to go backwards is just step down.
Why do we have Child Protective Services then, right? We have laws in place to protect children. So you mean to say that you have nothing to do with parents and if they abuse their children? I don't want, he was talking to him, he was conflating different, I give parents the right to choose the school they send their kids to. That's different from, forcing children to get some sort of a transgender surgery. I mean, that's ridiculous. Go ahead, David.
Well, I was going to say, and now Child Protective Services will take your child if you don't mutilate them.
Exactly.
In California, yes,
Oh, God.
especially. Yeah.
Oh,
Canada's getting like that.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of this. Like I said, I was riveted by this MP, and she got herself. Well, I already was following her on Twitter, so.
Well, I'm gonna write redacted trends, so I'm just gonna keep on with it because I think that it's very important that you see this video too. And again, I will try to get this on Rumble at some point when it comes back on. So I barely get any views on YouTube anyways. And YouTube is just, again, leftist controlled media and a whole lot of stuff that people want to share. You're not gonna find it on YouTube. This is just a taste. Go to Rumble.
They were caught totally off guard by this. Yes.
And I'm sharing this too because this is another example like of Bill Blair, again, about Ukraine, completely ignorant about everything regarding that and spreading misinformation about that. And even now, even with what's going on in Israel and Palestine, like so friggin' clueless. And even like I was tagging him and sharing information like a week, a week after I was debunking things, like he was still saying it like a week after, weeks after. And this is how bad he is. Like, oh my God. And it's just frustrating because like I've been nice, respectful, peaceful, sharing information with him now for years, giving my all of my contact information, my resume, all this stuff, and literally nothing back yet.
The most sophisticated organization in the world, the intelligence
someone like him should be begging for people like me to be working with him and around him, especially as Canada's Minister of National Defense. You should be fucking begging for someone like me. And this is what I mean. They're so egotistical, closed-minded. They don't understand that so many people see how fucking dumb they look and ignorant. And we hate the fact that he gets paid so much money to lie to us about so many different things, even exploding mass murders and stuff like that. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And pushing to steal our money and put it in investments and stocks and wealth in other countries for friends and family and people that they want to get close with and buddy with, and bullshit about carbon taxes and like they're stealing from us. Like, just step down, just go away already.
Organization in the world simply didn't know anything at all. Nothing at all. That's what we're told, right? That's what they stand behind. That's what we're told. And yet now we know that investors knew that the October 7th attack was coming. They made huge trades and they made millions of dollars off of those trades, millions of dollars short selling Israeli companies, almost as if they knew that those companies were going to collapse or have huge downswings.
And I would check Canadian government as well, especially cabinet and their friends and their family. And Bill Blair, I hope you're watching this, and I hope if anyone watching this has any relation with you or can get this to you, I hope you watch this and finally call me in response to emails. But just so many things that you're just, I don't know if you're intentionally doing it or not. But like even with Marco Mendicino and his wife, she's like having shares in Northrop Grumman. Did you know that? Does your family? Do you know that Zelensky just tried to get two of his friends? Actually, he did though. He got two of his friends and brothers to purchase two different yachts for $75 million. Where'd he get that money? You want us to give billions of dollars, and we're literally reading about Zelensky getting $75 million worth of yachts, and because he doesn't want it to be tied to him directly, like he's getting his two like friends to do with, like, this is our fucking money. People are close to homeless or are homeless. Food banks, our mortgages have doubled and tripled. How dare you? I just don't get it.
So they would make a lot of money on those downswings, and they made these trades right before the attack. Very convenient. This is not me saying this, by the way. This is research conducted by Columbia School of Law in New York and New York University. Researchers from both of those universities came together to collaborate on this. They analyzed incredible amounts of stock data before and after the October 7th Hamas attack, and they noticed some very odd behavior. So here is the name of this research abstract, Trading on Terror, by Robert Jackson Jr. and Joshua Mitz. And I'll just read some of the abstract here, and I'll quote from it. The short selling that day far exceeded the short selling that occurred during numerous periods of crisis, including the recession following the financial crisis, the 2014 Israel-Gaza war, the COVID-19 pandemic. Similarly, we identify increases in short selling before the attack in dozens of Israeli companies traded in Tel Aviv. In other words, some traders knew about the Hamas plan to attack Israel on October 7th and used that knowledge to make millions of dollars by short selling Israeli companies. That's their finding. Those company stocks plummeted in value, and they made millions off of that knowledge. But interestingly, it aggregate increase in shorting of Israeli companies on U.S. exchanges, we do identify a sharp and unusual increase just before the attacks in trading in risky short-dated options in these companies expiring just after the attacks. We identify similar patterns in the Israeli ETF at times when it was reported that Hamas was planning to execute a similar attack back in October. Our findings suggest that traders informed about the coming attacks profited from these tragic events. And consistent with prior literature, we show that trading of this kind occurs in gaps in U.S. and international enforcement of legal prohibitions on informed trading. So they knew they were coming and they operated within the cracks of that informed trading. Very sophisticated. Days before the attacks, traders appeared to anticipate the events to come, they wrote. They also wrote, citing short interest in the Israeli stock exchange, the exchange-traded fund, that suddenly and significantly spiked on October 2nd, based on data from the Financial Industries Regulatory Authority, FINRA. The ETF is commonly used as a way for people to make investments in Israel, which on any given day has about 2,000 shares that are shorted. On any given day, it's about 2,000. However, on October 2nd, that number shot up to 227,000 shares in this, as according to the study revealed. The study found that just before the attack, short selling of Israeli securities on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange increased dramatically. That's not a coincidence. I don't know. Maybe in the chat, you let us know. Do you think that's a total coincidence? Let us know. Because in the days before September 11th, there was a lot of unusual trading activity that prompted investigators to look into it. Why did investors short American Airlines and United Airlines stock? And they didn't short Delta or other U.S. companies. It was highly selective which companies they chose to short, right? Like almost as if they knew those two airlines would have hijacked airplanes. In the month prior to September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, unusual trading activity involving American and United Airlines stock was noted by market analysts, who at the time had no idea what to make of it. Wildly unusual discrepancies in the put and call ratio, 25 to 100 times normal, were reportedly observed in stock options on the two airlines. In one case, Bloomberg's Tradebook electronic trading system identified option volume in UAL, which is the parent of United Airlines, on 16th of August, 2001. That was 36 times higher than usual. Why also then did investors short Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan, which have offices in the trade towers? What do you guys think? Their stocks plummeted after their main offices were destroyed and the towers collapsed. So bottom line here is some folks made a lot of money and had foreknowledge of this. I mean, are we still operating under the idea that these guys had no idea that October 7th was coming? I mean, I don't know that
I've ever been operating under that idea.
I mean, I never for one second believed that that was the truth, but that's the official narrative, that we were totally blindsided by it, right? We had no idea, and we can't believe it. Even though, as we reported here, and Egypt has reported separately, that they had easy knowledge of that and warned the Israelis that this was coming.
Yep. So I won't get too much into it because it's the whole video. I am more sharing this so that you can take a look at my Rumble and see so many different videos that I've shared on that. And so I will leave it at that on that note. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.